Hi there, it's Catherine, your lawyer friend and guide, and this is the #1 podcast for legal careers in Japan. Thanks for stopping by the Lawyer on Air podcast. Today I am delighted to welcome Dajeong Lee as my guest. She is a partner in the litigation practice group at Yulchon LLC in Korea. She is currently spending a year in Tokyo as a research fellow at Waseda University, undertaking comparative research into insolvency law in Korea and Japan. Thanks to Junko Mukoyama, a former guest of the show, for introducing this guest to the podcast. As our conversation unfolds, you will hear it becomes something much deeper than taking up a research fellowship. We find out that careers are not always measured by how fast we move, but by whether we are simply moving in the right direction. We talk about navigating several major life transitions at once, balancing motherhood with academic research and legal practice. And there's a big mindset shift that takes place from being a sprinter to more like a long-distance runner. Along the way, we discover how jazz music, books, Japanese language, and life in Japan have helped shape my guest's perspective on success, resilience, and continuing to grow throughout a legal career. Whether you are considering your own next career step, taking time to invest in yourself, or wondering if there is another way to define success, I think you will find plenty to reflect on in this conversation. Let's get into it. Hello, Dajeong, and welcome to the Lawyer on Air podcast.
Oh, thank you for inviting me to this show.
I'm so glad you're here. One of our previous guests on the show suggested you come along, and I'm so happy when guests do that. But let's start with our warm-up question.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that you and I are meeting up in person. Where are we, and what are you ordering from the drinks menu?
I think we'd be meeting in a small atmospheric jazz bar.
Jazz bar.
Yeah, jazz bar.
Ooh.
Before I had my baby, my husband and I used to go to jazz bars in Seoul quite often. Since giving birth and moving back to Tokyo with the baby, I haven't managed to go to one yet, even though I hear Tokyo has some wonderful jazz bars. So I would love to go again.
When you go to the bar, the jazz bar with your husband, what kind of drink do you order?
I usually order the draft beer.
Oh, beer.
Yes, I like draft beer.
Oh, lovely. Draft beer.
Yes.
Amazing. Okay, that sounds good. I know in Tokyo there's a club called the Cotton Club.
Mm-hmm.
The Cotton Club is near Tokyo Station, and it's really great.
Oh,
So easy to book online to go to something. So maybe there's one night you can go there before you miss out on having a chance to do a jazz bar activity in Tokyo. It would be lovely if
yeah.
you could go.
I really want to go there with you.
Yeah, it'd be lovely. I'd be very happy to do that. Maybe we can take our mutual friend along as well
Yeah.
sometime. Well, let's go back into your story.
Mm-hmm.
You grew up in Korea, and I'm really wondering what kind of a child you were when you were there. And can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, both of my parents worked, so I was largely raised by my maternal grandparents.
Mm.
And I was a very diligent child and I read many books. My grandfather had high hopes for me, I think, and he wants me be a lawyer.
Oh, so your grandfather wanted you to be a lawyer. Do you know
Yeah.
why?
In his generation, lawyer and prosecutor were held in especially high regard, and he
Ah,
often said that he hoped I would enter the legal profession.
yeah, amazing. Here you are. But first of all, before law, you went and did study on communications.
Yes,
So what attracted you to do that first?
well, that's kind of a long story.
Yes.
Uh, Law had been my dream since childhood, but the
Mm.
timing was a little unusual. Just as I was entering university, Korea introduced the law school system, and universities with graduate law school had to close their undergraduate law departments. The idea was to bring people from a wider range of academic backgrounds into the profession. So I had to choose a different major. I was interested in social issues, I loved writing, and I was also curious about journalism. So I chose communications. Once I started studying it and did an internship at a media company, journalism became a very real alternative, and law school was expensive. So I genuinely wondered whether it was the right choice. But in the end, I felt I would regret it if I never even tried to pursue the dream. So I carried it for so long. So law was not always my only plan, but it was definitely my oldest one.
So, did you think you would become a lawyer? Because studying law is one thing, but did you think I'm going to be a lawyer when I finish? Yeah?
Uh,
You had that
yeah,
dream?
yes,
And when you finished law school, did you join the law firm then?
yes. Right after graduate law school, I entered my law firm.
Right. Is that the one you're at now?
Yeah,
Ah, I see. So you're already a partner at that law firm.
yes.
Wow. So what decisions helped to shape your journey at that time?
One of the important experience was my internship during law school. In my second year, I had the chance to work at a court and a prosecutor's office and several law firms. Seeing them from the inside made me realize how different their working cultures were. I respected the public service law of judges and prosecutor, but I felt more suited to an environment where I could take greater ownership of a matter, work with different people, and help shape a solution. The lawyer I met in the Yulchon, they seemed very confident and proactive, and I liked the variety and complexity of the work. And to be completely honest, the idea of working in a beautiful office in Central Seoul was also quite attractive to me at that time.
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes,
I
yes,
understand. That's
yes,
right. Yeah, Central Seoul must be amazing.
yes. Have you ever been Seoul?
Yes, I've visited Seoul maybe 3 or 4 times.
Oh, you love Seoul. Interesting.
I
Oh,
went for my work, but I always went in somehow, always wintertime.
oh,
Maybe 3 visits was winter and one was deep summertime. So it was very, very hot or very, very
oh,
cold when I visited.
Korean summer and winter is very severe.
Severe.
Yeah, you have to go to autumn or autumn.
Yes, and
Yeah,
in
spring. Yes.
wintertime, I actually had snow boots on because
Oh,
it was snowy and icy, and I couldn't wear usual shoes, right?
oh
So
yes.
it was a good experience. I want to go back
Oh,
again. So autumn is a good time.
yeah, autumn or spring,
Ah.
and it would be better. Autumn, autumn.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you for that information. So, your firm sounds like a lovely firm, and you specialize in disputes and insolvency work. And you told us that you really had that respect for the judges and you liked to work in the central part of Seoul. So, was there any experience in that early part of your career that accelerated your development as a lawyer?
I think very early in my career, I was asked to draft a major written submission in a complicated criminal case. The case file was enormous, the subject was very difficult, and I had almost no experience writing that kind of document. I spent several very late nights on the first draft. When I opened the version reviewed by the senior lawyer, almost every sentence had been edited. The screen was basically all red. I was honestly embarrassed and quite upset. But instead of treating the edits simply as criticism, I started studying them line by line. Why the facts had been rearranged, what should be emphasized, what should be removed, and how the case might look from the court's or the other side's perspective. Over time, the red edits become fewer, and eventually my drafts began to be filed almost as I had written them. That experience taught me that painful feedback can become one of your best running tools if you are willing to examine it closely.
Yes, painful feedback can be the best learning tool, did you say?
Yes,
Oh, I love that. It's so true, isn't it? And we have the choice to react negatively or
yeah,
positively.
mm,
And you took the choice to study the redlining one by
yes,
one and learn from it.
yes.
What an amazing experience.
Thank you. At the time, I was
Yes.
really sad and upset, but
Yes.
afterward, I learned a lot of things from that experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you also talk with the partner at that time?
Yes, and he explained why he added
Mm.
these things line by line, and it makes me a better lawyer.
Right, because even the facts, you may have had the facts one by one in chronological order, but if that was changed, maybe there's a better way to do the facts that emphasize the case, the positive
Yes,
case. I see.
yes,
Wow. So, how long ago was that? Was that in the first year of you joining the firm?
yes. First year and very early on in my
Right.
career.
Do you think that was really important for you, that it was one of the best learning experiences for you to have that experience?
Yes, before that experience, I'm really proud of myself, but it's really bit arrogant.
Yeah.
But after that experience, I may oh
You
I do
maybe came back
yeah.
to being human.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, because when we graduate law school, we join the firm, we think, I know how to do law.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
going to be great.
Mm,
Right? We're super confident, even if we're maybe a bit nervous, but we feel confident. And then a real lawyer
yes.
comes along and an experienced lawyer and gives us a bit of a punch.
Yes, perfect. You're right.
I've had a few of those myself as well. I
Mm,
remember being in front of a judge and I had submitted the documents.
mm,
But when you submit the documents, there's a way of doing them. You need to leave a certain amount of gap on the
mm.
margin for the judge to write the notes. You know, the paragraphs have to be a certain width between each other. There's all kinds of rules, right?
Yes,
On the
exactly.
technical rules. And I made a mistake on one of the rules, and the judge told me off in front of everybody.
Yeah.
It was so awful, but I learned from that. I learned so much to check every single issue on the document before submitting it. So we
Mm,
learn, as you say, it's a tool for learning from our mistakes or from things that aren't as perfect as they could be.
yes.
What a great example. Thank you.
My pleasure.
So then partnership arrived. Did you plan for that to be a partner or did it surprise you?
Actually, it wasn't a complete surprise. It
Mm.
came at roughly the stage I had expected, but I never took it for granted. From the beginning, I tried to remember that while a matter might be one of many cases for me, for the client, it could involve their businesses, reputation, or even their whole life. So I tried to treat every matter with real responsibility, regardless of its size. I think that helped me build trust with colleagues and clients over time. I didn't have a special strategy for becoming a partner. I mostly tried to be faithful to the case and the people in front of me. So when it happened, it felt natural, but I was still very grateful and happy.
Well done. Amazing. And then there's this turning point in your life, maybe unexpected, you can tell me, chapter of coming to Japan because many lawyers spend their careers building their expertise, and many lawyers, once they've become established, they continue along this straight line and doing what they've done, right? Become a partner like you did. But
Mm-hmm.
you chose to step out of the practice temporarily and become a student as a researcher in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Where did that idea come from?
I never really saw it as stepping away from my career. I saw it as a chance to broaden my expertise and perspective. As you know, Yurchon gives lawyers who have worked for a certain period and performed well the opportunity to study or conduct research overseas. I thought carefully about how I wanted to use that opportunity. Korean law has many historical links with Japanese law, and when Korean precedents or commentary are limited, we sometimes look at Japanese cases and scholarship. Each time I did that, I wished I could understand the language more deeply and use the materials more confidently. I also wanted to meet Japanese academics and practitioners and build relationships here. And there was a personal reason too. I had always enjoyed traveling in Japan, the food, the culture, the people, the changing seasons. And I wanted to know what it felt like to actually live here rather than just visit. So for me, Japan was not a pause. It was a different way of spending my career.
Yeah, not a pause, not a step away. It was a chance to build your experience.
Yes, I think so.
Ah, and I love how you've explained what pulled you here was also personal, that you love the food. Yes, I agree with you. The changing seasons is such an important part of Japan too,
Yeah, yes,
and enjoying Japan. And so you're at Waseda.
yes.
Did you choose Waseda? Why was Waseda the place that you decided to go to?
The reasons for choosing Japan were the professional and personal ones I just mentioned. Waseda was a more specific choice. A senior lawyer in my firm had studied there a few years earlier, strongly recommended the experience, and introduced me to the professor who became my supervisor. Having someone I trusted explain the program and make the connection was very reassuring. Waseda is also widely recognized in Korea as one of Japan's leading universities, with a particularly strong tradition in law. And it has a broad alumni network across law, business, politics, and many other fields in both Japan and Korea. So it felt like a very good place not only to study but also to build long-term connection between professionals in the two countries.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? It's not only the study, it's the connections,
Yeah.
relationships. And you made something aware to me before was that Korean law and Japanese law are kind of linked. And I didn't
Yeah.
realize that Korea often looks to Japan for the cases or, as you said, scholarship. I
Mhm.
hadn't realized that. So thank you for sharing that. And it makes sense. It's very natural to come here.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah. Do you speak or read Japanese?
Uh, little bit, not fluent. Yeah. Well, I want to study Japanese, but while I'm carrying my child, there's no,
Yeah.
no time.
That's right. And we're going to talk
Yeah.
about that in a moment because
Yeah.
I think maybe a little bit about your research would be useful to hear because what are you studying here and what do you hope for that research to lead to for you as a person, but also as a lawyer?
Personally, I hope to become much more comfortable with Japanese, especially legal Japanese. I still feel the language barrier when I read cases and academic articles, and I'd like to understand the nuance of the original text without relying so much on translation. I'd also like to have deeper conversations in Japanese with academics and lawyers here. Professionally, I hope the comparative perspective will help me see the strengths and limits of both systems more clearly. If I can bring useful Japanese ideas into my Korean practice and also become a small bridge between lawyers and researchers in two countries, I would consider that a very meaningful outcome.
I think you'll probably be more than a small bridge.
Thank you.
You'll be a larger bridge than what you think. That's amazing.
Mm,
Well,
mm,
I do want to talk about this. I think you've had a challenge coming to Japan, and really not just one challenge. There's been three major life changes all at once as you took this
yeah.
new experience. You've taken this research fellowship, but you've also become a mother as well as moving countries to come to
Mm.
Japan. So maybe it's not the right question, but what's challenged you the most? Or are all of those three things all challenging, but just differently?
Well, they were all challenging in different ways,
Mm,
but becoming a mother has definitely been both the most rewarding and the most difficult. Returning to university was actually exciting. Before joining Yurchon in 2018, I had spent most of my life in school. So becoming a student again made me feel a little younger. The
mm,
language barrier was difficult at times, of course. Moving to Japan was also easier than I expected. My husband is a lawyer too, and he had already spent a year in Japan as an exchange student during law school. So he was familiar with the language and culture and helped me enormously. But motherhood, though, was completely new. Pregnancy, birth, and caring for a baby changed the center of my life. I try my best every day, but I often don't know whether I'm doing it well. And because my family and close friends are in Korea, I sometimes feel isolated, even though my husband is very involved. So, motherhood has been the greatest challenge, but also the greatest source of joy and meaning.
yeah, I'm sure it's fully a source of joy for you. You were pregnant when you came to Japan?
Yes,
Did you have your baby in Japan?
yes.
Oh, how was that experience with the hospital and all of that must have been exciting but stressful.
Yeah, first of all, it was really stressful because I'm not fluently speaking Japanese,
Mm,
but Korean hospital and Japan hospital is very has very similar system, and as I said, my husband is speaking Japanese very well, so he helped a lot. So after that, it makes me feel better. It's getting better when I'm in Japanese hospital.
yeah, I think your
Mm.
husband is very significant in this whole journey. Even before we started, he was helping a little bit, wasn't he, with some
Yes,
technical things, and it was really great to see him and his smiling face, and I can tell he's very supportive of you. So, yay to your husband.
thank you.
You know, you mentioned you don't know if you're doing things well, and I think nothing bad has happened, so you must be doing things well.
Mm,
Was
yeah.
there something that you've been worried about for this chapter that actually turned out easier than expected? And maybe there's something that you thought would be harder.
The part that turned out to be easier was setting into life in Japan. Before leaving Korea, I worried about finding medical care while pregnant and building a life in a new country, as I said. But
Mm.
Korea and Japan share many cultural and practical similarities, and people around us were very helpful. And my husband's previous experience here also made a big difference. What was harder than expected was not just the physical exhaustion of childcare, but losing control over my own time and plans. As a lawyer, even when the workload was intense, I could usually make a plan, work hard, and produce a result. A baby doesn't work like that. Something that worked yesterday may completely fail today.
Yes.
Yes, and one day I feel very proud because, oh, I think I finally understood why my baby is crying. And the next day, I have absolutely no idea. My
Mm.
husband and I sometimes have small disagreements over feeding or sleep, even though we are both trying our best. I'm someone who likes preparation and control. So learning to live with that uncertainty has been harder than I expected. But I'm slowly accepting that parenting is less about perfect control and more about adapting together day by day.
Adapting together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and our baby doesn't work like that. That's such a great expression. Yeah, they have their own minds, their own way of doing things, and they're kind of helpless. And so
Yeah.
they just rely on you, but also you don't know why they're crying, and you want to take away the pain of the crying and trying to
Yeah.
work it out day by day. It's different. I think you gave an excellent summary of what it's like as a new mother. How long ago did you have your baby? How old is your child now?
uh 5 months.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh,
Little baby.
real baby and
Yeah, real baby.
changing every single day. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. But really cute and lovely.
I'm sure cute and lovely, yes. So what were you hoping to learn when you arrived in Japan, and what have you actually learnt here? Because I know you've got your husband who did study here before, had one
Yeah.
year in law school and is kind of fluent in Japanese, you said as well. But for you, what were you hoping to learn before you arrived? And then now you've arrived, what have you actually discovered since you've been in Japan?
Uh, Before coming, I wanted to improve my Japanese, of course, but I also wanted to understand the country beyond what you can learn as a tourist. How people think, how relationships work, and how daily life feels. One thing that has stood out to me is the value placed on continuity. Korea is very quick to improve inconvenient systems and adopt something new. That makes life efficient and dynamic, but it can also mean that traditions and familiar places disappear quickly, and people become tired from constant change. In Japan, I often see a stronger desire to preserve long standing ways, relationships, and traditions, even when they may look less efficient. That can sometimes feel slow, but it also creates a sense of stability. I don't think one approach is simply better than the other. What I've learned is the importance of balancing the ability to change quickly with the ability to protect what is worth keeping.
Yeah, protect what's worth keeping. And I think so many of us foreigners into Japan often think that Japan should just change everything and
Mm.
be like everywhere else. But there are some things, as you said, that keep the stability,
Yeah.
long-standing ways. Is there anything that you can think of that you would like to change, though, or like to see changed in Japan? And maybe it's
Um,
not a criticism, or it's just like, oh, if only we had that, or Japan could do that and it would be so much better.
I think Japan is prefer the paperwork, n- but on the other hand, Korea is they do work by online.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes,
Yeah,
I think I agree with you on that fully, is that the paperwork could be completely changed, right? There doesn't need to be so much of the paperwork. I'm just thinking I have to go and get some papers from the ward office this week, and I'm thinking, why can't I just print it out at the convenience store, or it's a particular document that you have to go and pick up in
yeah.
paper. And I think, where is the electronic version? But it's a shame, isn't it, that we don't have that yet in Japan. I hope
Ah.
that comes.
Yeah, I hope so.
But I wanted to ask you a couple more questions on motherhood because I know you're okay with me asking you the questions. But
Mm.
has becoming a mother changed the way that you think about your career ambitions? Maybe also your future and your professional identity as a lawyer?
It's true that the center of gravity in my life has moved a little more toward my family, but I don't think my ambition has disappeared. I think my definition of success has changed. Before, I worked mainly for my own achievement and growth. Now, I also want to be someone my son can be proud of, and that makes me want to remain a strong professional for a long time. At the same time, I've realized that I can't keep spending all my energy at once and expect that to be sustainable. Work and family can't simply compete with each other forever. I need to build a life in which both can continue. So, if my younger self had the mindset of a sprinter, I think I'm becoming more like a long distance runner. Speed matters less to me now than endurance.
Speed matters less than endurance.
Yeah.
And so sticking with it and yeah, and continuing to be a role model for your son and be a good lawyer to show him what it's
Yes, I hope
like.
so. Yeah.
So many women probably feel that motherhood will slow their careers, or as you said, changing the center of gravity. I love that expression. What has your experience taught you so far that might be helpful for others who are listening today who are going through a similar experience as you?
Okay. Well, I don't want to romanticize it. The physical burden of pregnancy and childbirth falls on women, and when a baby is very young, a mother's career can be affected in a very real way. That is why support from partners, families, and workplaces matters so much. It cannot be treated as an individual woman's problem to solve alone. But I have also found that motherhood does not only slow a career, it can give it a clearer purpose. I want to provide my child with emotional and financial security, and I want him to see me continuing to do meaningful work. Motherhood has also made my identity broader. Before, a difficult evaluation or setback at work could feel as though it shook my whole life. Now, work is still very important, but it is no longer my only source of identity. So, motherhood may slow my pace for a period, but I think it has also given me the direction and resilience to keep going for longer. A slower release is not necessarily the same as falling behind.
Slowing down is not falling behind.
Yeah,
I love it. And I also love how you said it's given you a broader identity being a mother,
yeah.
right? And setbacks don't shake you as much as they did. Those are excellent for everybody to take in.
Thank you. Thank-
So, has becoming a parent made you a different lawyer or a different leader? What do you think?
It may still be a little early to say that I'm a completely different lawyer or reader, but I do think I have become more patient and more generous in the way I see people. Raising a baby reminds me every day that people run and develop at different speeds. Something may not happen immediately, and sometimes a person can do something yesterday and struggle with it today. But that doesn't mean there is no growth. I think that will affect how I work with junior lawyers. In the past, I may have focused first on the results and quickly corrected what was wrong. Now, I'm more likely to ask why someone is struggling and what explanation or opportunity might help them improve. My standards have not become lower, but I hope the way I help people reach those standards will become more patient and humane. Parenthood has also reminded me that everyone carries responsibilities outside the office that we may not see. A good leader should set high standards, but also help people work in a way that is sustainable.
Yeah, I think people's responsibilities outside the office is everywhere, especially for parents. Thank you for
Yes.
those. Let's move into some final reflections then. What do you know now that you wish your younger self had known when she started that legal career?
When I started, I thought the career had to move forward in a straight line.
Yes.
I felt that had to keep progressing and that slowing down or taking a different path meant falling behind. I also took the leisure to have a single case or one person's evaluation as if it were a judgment on my entire ability and value. Now I know that a career does not have to be a linear. A detour or a slower period is not necessarily a retreat. It can expand your perspective and develop strengths you didn't have before. And one mistake or disappointing result does not define you. If I could speak to my younger self, I would say, don't be so impatient and don't place your whole sense of worth on one outcome. An unexpected detour can still be part of moving forward.
So now you're here in today in Japan. What are you valuing more about today than you valued maybe 5 years ago?
This may sound a little predictable, but I value time with my family much more now. My grandfather, who helped raise me and first encouraged my dream of becoming a lawyer, died suddenly 3 years ago. I had always been busy with work, and I kept thinking that one day I would visit him more often or take him on a trip abroad. But that day never came, and I still regret it. If I could speak to myself 5 years ago, I would say that work will always continue, but time with the people you love does not wait forever. That is why this period, when I can focus so much of my heart and time on my husband and my son, feels very precious. Before, I spent time with family when work allowed it. Now I try to protect family time first and then think about how work can fit around it.
That's very meaningful,
Thank
extremely
you.
meaningful. Thank you so much. And I think 5 years probably doesn't change if it's 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. It's maybe the same, but since your grandfather passed away, which was 3 years ago, and now there's you sitting here, and perhaps even a year ago, before you became a mother, before you came to Japan, before you did this research chapter, if you could speak to that person a year ago, what would you say to her 1 year ago? And then maybe jump ahead to your future self who's 10 years from now, and what would you say to her?
It's interesting question.
Mm.
To the Dajeong of 1 year ago, I would say your baby will be far more beautiful and lovable than you can possibly imagine. You won't understand that feeling until you experience it, but he will bring you a kind of happiness you have never known. And then I would add one very practical warning. Once the baby arrives, it becomes much harder to control your own time. So please study more Japanese now and travel around Japan more while you can. Eh, As for my future self 10 years from now, I hope she would say, choosing to have and raise your child was one of the best decisions you made. You became both a good mother and someone who continued to contribute through her work. Stop trying to do everything perfectly and stop being so hard on yourself. Life is more about direction than speed. You are going in the right direction and you are doing better than you think.
Direction, not speed. Wonderful. That's so amazing. Thank you so much. And before we go to the quick fire round, a closing question for you. Our lawyer on air audience often includes women who may be considering a new chapter. That might be a new role, it might be moving overseas like you did, it might be returning to study like you did, or becoming a parent. What would you say to someone who's standing on the edge of a major life transition and wondering whether they are ready or not? What would you say to them?
I'd like to say, I think almost everyone's asked whether they are ready before a major change. But in my experience, the moment when you feel completely ready almost never arrives. I certainly didn't feel fully ready to move countries, become a student again, or become a mother. Being ready doesn't not mean having every answer. It may simply mean trusting that you can run and adapt when the answers are not yet clear. A new chapter will not always follow your plan, and sometimes you will have to move more slowly than expected. That does not mean you are on the wrong path. So I would say, don't wait for the fear to disappear completely. If you understand why the change matters to you and you have put some practical support around yourself, it is okay to take the first step before you feel perfect. And once you begin, don't expect yourself to perform at exactly the same speed as before. The different life may require a different rhythm. Slowing down or asking for help is not failure. You do not have to be perfectly ready. You just need to keep moving in a direction that matters to you.
What amazing advice that is, right? You may not see your own path and you may not know where it's leading to, but not knowing where you're going, I think has actually inspired you to travel that path. It's amazing. Thank you so much. Well, let's get into the quick fire round. Some really fun questions to finish up today.
Yes.
What is your lawyer superpower?
Oh, I think my lawyer's superpower is understanding what people like really trying to say
Oh,
and then translating that into language your courts can understand and find persuasive.
mm. Do you have anything that you've read, like a book maybe, or listened to a podcast or some other leadership resource that you recommend?
This is not a traditional readership recommendation, but I love Keiko Higashino's mystery novels. They
Mm.
make you think about the emotion and motives behind people's actions, and I think that helps you understand people better, which is useful both as a lawyer and as a leader.
Did you say Keiko Higashino? Oh,
Higashino Keigo. Yeah, Keiko Higashino.
Higashino.
Yeah. He's
Oh,
famous mystery novel
oh, thank
writer.
you. Wow.
Mm.
And those books in Japanese.
Yeah,
Oh, see, you're reading them, right? In
by
Japanese.
Korean, translated
On
by Korean,
translation. Okay, well
not
done.
Japanese. Yeah.
And if you weren't doing law, what
Mm.
do you think you'd be doing? You did communications first, but what would you be doing now if you woke up tomorrow and you weren't a lawyer, what would you be doing?
It's a really interesting question, and I would probably be a sport journalist.
Sports journalist.
Sport journalist. At university, I loved baseball so much that I practically lived at the stadium. And during my journalism internship, I seriously imagined interviewing players and writing about games for a living.
Wow. Are you watching the FIFA football?
Uh, Football too, but
Yeah.
I
Baseball's your
prefer
thing.
baseball. Yeah, baseball is my
Wow.
favorite.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure when Jane is editing this later, she will go, "Yay!" when she hears you say that because she loves baseball too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you've got something in common there. So you surprised me saying you would like to be a sports journalist, but what is
Yeah.
one more thing that people would be surprised about to know about you?
Uh, People often think I'm calm person, but I'm actually extremely competitive. When I watch my baseball
Oh,
team, I
mm,
become much louder and more emotional than people would ever expect.
yeah. My thing is rugby, and I change into another person when I watch rugby. Very
It sounds
passionate.
good. Yeah.
And the last question here is talking about your career as a metaphor.
Yeah.
What would it be? Some people have talked about their career being water or being an octopus. What's
Mm,
yours?
octopus.
Octopus,
Oh.
yes.
I'd say my career is like jazz improvisation.
Ooh.
There is a central theme and a direction, but now every note is decided in advance. I've had to respond to unexpected changes, adjust the tempo, and take on new roles. And somehow, those unplanned parts have made the whole story richer than the version I originally imagined.
Jazz improvisation. That is so awesome. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Well, we've reached the end of our chat today.
Wow, thank you.
And I know you've got your baby wanting you to come and see him, but that's part of life on Lawyer on Air is that we run with the punches, roll with the punches, whatever the word is. And when things come up and happen like this is exactly what we do. It's not live, and we love everyone to enjoy their life while they're recording the podcast. Have you enjoyed yourself today? Was it hard? Did you enjoy yourself?
Oh, at first I feel really nervous, but now I really happy and
Yes.
satisfied. Satisfied.
Good.
Thank you.
Great. I'm so glad to hear
Thank
that.
you. Thank you, Catherine.
Before we finish up, is there a place that people can contact you if they want to talk to you more about the topics?
I have an email address to contact me.
Okay, so maybe people can let me know and I can send them the email if you let me do that.
Okay, okay.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you very, very much to my listeners. This is to my listeners out there. If this episode has inspired you and gave you something to think about, I would love to hear from you. Please make sure you subscribe, share this podcast with somebody else because your feedback and your sharing helps more listeners like you find this show and discover answers to questions they always wanted to know about a career and parenthood in law, but they did not know how to find them. And that's all from me today. I'll see you back here on the next episode. Cheers, kampai, and bye for now.